Live from the Export Beer Garden studio and brought to you by Export Ultra, the beer for here. This is the Agenda podcast for Thursday, the 20th of June.
The Agenda podcast, the home of sporting nonsense and claptrap. Brought to you by Export Ultra.
Good morning, Matt Heath.
Good morning, Manaia Stewart. Thanks for having me on the Agenda podcast.
Thanks for coming in. We are actually heading to your neck of the woods for the Export Ultra pre-game ahead of the All Blacks.
Yeah, well, I've got in your neck of the woods as well for a while.
Yeah, I went down there the other day.
I saw that.
Have a look around.
Yeah, it's a different hospitality environment down there, isn't it, these days?
Yeah, because what were the bars there when you were down there?
I was big on the Cook.
Yep.
The Empire, the Crown, and the Gardies.
Yeah, Gardies. So Gardies finished just before I started there.
Right, yeah, the Gardies was legendary. They were so big. Yeah. It was always a good time at the Gardies.
I never went into the Gardies, but there were a few parties on like sort of Castle in the adjacent area that I was there or thereabouts. But I was saying to Elaine yesterday, they did a real outstanding move from their behalf, from the Fun Police's behalf, where they said, final party on Saturday, everyone come, and then shut it on the Friday.
Oh, whack.
Yeah.
I think there's a misunderstanding of why people go to Otago University from the university itself.
Yes.
They keep shutting down all the bars and turning them into facilities for the university.
Yeah.
If you're going to go to a university, you're going to go to a better university than that. You know, like if you're going to go out of your way to go to university, you're not going to go to the 150,000th rated best university in the world.
Yeah.
But if you're going to go to just and suck up the student life and go to the bars, but it's not like the students stopped drinking. No. They just drunk at home.
Yeah, I know. That's the part that I don't understand. You haven't solved the problem.
No.
You've just forced it underground.
Yeah.
People still think that way.
Yeah.
It's like all the woke stuff that happened for the last few years, and then Trump gets voted back in again, and they're like, well, hang on. Well, I thought no one thought that. It's like, no. You just made it so unpopular for people to be able to... People still think these things. The people still think Otago's go there and piss up university. Got to be honest with you. When people ask me what I studied at Otago University, I say a Bachelor of Beer Drinking, because I don't even remember what my fucking degree was.
Yeah, I've got a degree from there as well. My son's looking at going there next year, actually.
Yeah, go, 100%.
And he went down there for the, for the orientation, not the orientation, what it's called, I don't know, the look around, the open day or whatever.
Yeah.
And all the reasons why he wants to go there, and he goes, there's so many people my age there. Oh, looks so good, man, and the halls of residence look like a lot of fun. And you're like, everything you're talking about is about fun.
Yes, and you're right. And also, I think that there's a lot of people who, when you leave high school, you got no idea what you want to do anyway.
Yeah.
And
piss around.
Yeah, piss around. If you take another 3 years.
Yeah, piss around before you face life. I mean, you'll run up a massive debt, but that's all right.
Yeah, it will never affect you. Debt, it's interest-free. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, just go for it.
And you can go and do one sharing run afterwards. And
find yourself.
Find some other people.
So we're down the Dunedin pre-games. Of course, it's the 30th anniversary of the Bain murders.
Yeah, I'm sure I didn't get a chance to listen to your show this morning, but I'm sure it didn't go unaddressed.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a chat about it. It's there's actually been there's a sort of a Bain generator, and there's been a mix between Jeremy Wells and Bain that's been posted up on the Matt and Jerry socials. It's like it's quite fit. It actually works quite well.
Strangely well. I think it's the long face.
Yeah.
It's like a long, slender face.
Yeah, I mean, will New Zealand, will Dunedin never get past Bain?
I don't think so.
I don't think they're always going to be linked intrinsically.
What is it about it? It's the murder mystery. It was the murder doc before murder docs were a thing, eh?
Yeah. And there was the paper run, and there was a lot to do with it. Yeah, my mate's dad was the first officer there.
Yeah. So I guess like everyone would have had a similar...
Yeah, everyone in Dunedin is linked in some way to it.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people from Dunedin that think he was innocent, oddly.
No, well, I just sort of think, like, you, me, and Adam are sitting in this room recording this podcast right now.
Yeah.
And if somebody walked in, G-Lane walked in later on, and Adam was alive and the two of us had been killed...
Yeah.
I think he'd be right to assume Adam did it,
yeah.
He?
I mean, he's definitely got to be on the list.
Yeah.
The last one left alive is definitely on the list.
That's my general theory is don't overthink these things.
And look, I just say that if you're going to try and get someone off and protect them because they're the last one that's going to be alive, handwritten note is the way to go, not the computer note that you were the only one that deserved to live. I mean, that seems... Yeah. It's not... I mean... Fire up a computer, it takes freaking ages. Just get out a pen and paper, Robin. If you wanted to get David off, it would be so easy just to use your provable handwriting.
Yeah.
Rather than the computer that had a really weird message that made it seem like David Bain wrote it.
And I saw an article in the Herald this morning. Did they talk to him maybe? Did they interview him? I think he's living in Waikato.
Yeah.
I've got to be honest, I'd probably go a bit further.
Yeah. Well, he headed to Australia for a bit, then he's come home. He's changed his name again. Yeah, I mean, obviously his wife thinks he didn't do it.
Yes.
You'd hope. I mean, I wonder if she ever asks any really tough questions.
I wonder if, say he goes out to play golf and he comes home a little later than he said he was going to.
Yeah.
And this kicks off a little bit of a, and you never stack the dishwasher, and you never make the bed, and you're always leaving your washing all over the floor.
Yeah.
And you killed your whole family. Like, it must come up.
I mean, I've been in a number of relationships with women, and I've never been, I'm not saying I've been, above repute, but, in my experience, your significant other is not one to bring up, they're going to bring up everything.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to bring everything.
From years and years and years ago.
And then suddenly, family killer? Oh, come on. Oh. You're going to bring that up, are you?
Yeah.
Is that where this argument's going, is it?
You're both sitting in the car after like a heated argument and it's quite quiet, and she goes, "She's going to KFC. I could murder a family, Jack." It's that they always just come up. You think you've gotten away with stuff in a relationship, but it always comes back up.
Yeah, great memories.
Anytime so this was something that happened to me the other day. I was talking to someone, I think it was actually Chris Key, was saying that he hates the way his missus stacks the dishwasher, so he doesn't let her. He'll just do it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I said, me and my missus, we stack the dishwasher completely differently, and it's fine. Neither of us care about it. And then a light bulb went off in my brain. Oh, this drives her nuts. She just hasn't said anything about it. And so I asked her, sure enough, she's just like, yeah, it really pisses me off the way you stack the dishwasher.
What are you doing?
It's the cutlery primarily, whether the thing goes up or down.
Yeah.
I'm a down. Pull it out by the handle, put it in by the handle.
I've been accused of using the dishwasher as like a storage device so I don't have to clean something. So I'll put a pot through there that's definitely not going to get cleaned in the dishwasher, but it's just a stopgap measure between the pot being in the sink and the pot eventually being cleaned.
Yes.
And I was arguing about this the other day, and I said, well, just leave it in 3 or 4 rotations of the dishwasher. Eventually that pot will become clean.
That's right. It's a real short-term solution because you're like, the problem I have is the kitchen looks messy.
Yeah.
If I take all that mess and just put it in here.
Just wedge it in the dishwasher with no chance of the dishwasher being able to clean it all.
Have you ever seen a kitchen with 2 dishwashers?
The drawers?
Well, no. I've seen a video of a guy explaining why you should have 2 dishwashers.
Right.
And you don't have cupboards and you just run everything out of the dishwasher.
Oh, yeah.
So at any given point, there's a clean and a dirty dishwasher.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
And so you just pull all your stuff out of the clean one.
Makes sense. So that's basically having drawers that can also clean the dishes.
Once it's finished, then it goes into the dirty one, then they reverse roles.
Yeah, see, I for a while had a dishwasher with 2 drawers and they operated.
Yeah, right.
But the bottom one broke and I never got it fixed because it's like, we've still got a dishwasher running.
Yeah.
So I can't really be bothered fixing, my laziness kicked in there and I never enjoyed the full glory of the 2 dishwasher.
Yeah. Another story I saw when I was flicking through the papers this morning was Sale GP's not going to be back in Littleton.
And we put in the bloody hard yards down there, didn't we?
We did everything we could. Are we to blame for this?
I mean, partially.
Yeah.
I mean, we did commit a few crimes on the red carpet, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But I thought your explanation of how it worked would have kept it going for a number of years when you got out on the. I thought that was actually very impressive.
A lot of people have said that to me, that they didn't understand how it worked until I put a couple of bottle caps on a table.
And it totally explained it. It was a fantastic event. I think it's just the shredding of the dolphins, potential just one shredded dolphin. If that ever happened, it would be the end of it. And I don't know, we're kind of living in a time when everything's just becomes a massive argy-bargy. Everyone argues about it, and then who knows who's right, and then no one can be fucked doing anything anymore, and then they take it overseas and just take Saudi money, and then everyone's happy.
Yeah, 100%. Well, so then,
except for the slaves.
Yeah. So the other part of it is that they're thinking about going to Auckland, but that was the whole reason it was in Christchurch last year, because that fell apart. I don't know, is there anywhere else in New Zealand we could have it? Because I'd love to put it on Lake Wakatipu.
Oh, be great down on Lake Wakatipu.
Yeah.
What a good time. I mean, bit risky in Utiputi, Dunedin, I tell you. That's a changeable climb.
You don't want to base them out of Andy Bay down there?
Port Chalmers?
Off Port Chalmers, yeah.
Yep.
Maybe you could put the Aussies over at Portobello so we don't have to deal with them.
Yeah, I mean, Auckland seems like the obvious one. But there's some kind of issues with some contamination of some shit or some problem or
irradiated soil.
Yeah,
or some shit.
I mean, no one cares. I mean, the whole thing is you've got a bunch of people that are heading down to get absolutely frickin' steamed, and watch yachting, and drink everything they can, and hopefully listen to some Shapeshifter, if Shapeshifter had been booked for Auckland as well, which is fantastic. Anytime you get to watch Shapeshifter is a good one.
Yeah.
And then everyone's worried about a bit of contamination. These are people that are drinking, piss.
Yeah.
And you're worried that they might be standing in some slightly contaminated soil.
Yeah, that's right.
They don't give a shit. They're literally going there to poison themselves while they watch yachting.
It's like telling a person who's smoking how bad the cigarettes are. They know.
Yeah, they know.
That's the reason that none of these anti-smoking campaigns are going to work. It's like, I know
Yeah.
this is bad for me. I'm not doing it because I think it's good for me.
Yeah.
And I think that it should be similar to rugby. I think that most things in our world these days, it should just be like, all right, the ground is contaminated. You tell people that. You should be like, look, we're still going to put the event on. I just want to let you know you could get crook because the ground here is contaminated. And if you're okay with that, then you should be allowed to do it. Same thing with the head knocks. Hey, you might not be able to remember where your keys are when you're 40.
Yeah.
But you will also get paid millions of dollars to play a game for a job.
How about we just pay them more to cover the head knocks so they can get someone that walks around writing down bits of information that they need to remember.
That's right.
The problem is the murders that can sometimes happen.
Oh, yeah, true.
The CTE can sometimes get you.
Benoit's.
Yeah, it's sort of happened a little bit, hasn't it? Where you can sometimes get a bit murdery.
Yeah, okay.
So it's not just forgetting where your keys are. You can start to just get a little bit murdery.
Yeah, Aaron Hernandez. I think maybe. But that's not going to happen with the contaminated soil for Sale GP.
No, it's not. No,
if we just like, look,
just do it.
Yeah.
We just need to have a bit of a let's just do it and see what happens kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Bring that back. There's too many people. There's too many. It's like mum and dad, don't go out and play in the snow because it's too cold. Put a jacket on. It's like, yeah, but it's fucking fun.
Yeah, this is what we fought.
It's cold. We might get sick.
We love a rule in this country.
Shit, we love, and we're not removing any.
No.
I mean, this is the thing. We just keep adding more and more. I reckon we should decide on a set number of rules, and I think this is the same thing for rugby union.
100.
Yeah, 100 rules. And that's it. If you add another one, you got to remove one.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like when you build cities on top of cities on top of cities on top of cities, and suddenly there's a sinkhole and you end up right back down in where the Romans were.
Yeah, exactly.
100 rules and that's it.
Yeah, because I was thinking even last night I couldn't find a park for this my social basketball game. But then there was like on the footpath, acres of room to park a car. And in any other country, those would be filled with people who would just park the car wherever they could fit it.
Yeah,
But in New Zealand, we're like, nah, that's not a park.
Because, I mean, the pedestrian can still get round.
Also, there are no pedestrians.
Yeah, there's no pedestrians. And if one should ever come along, then there is room for them to just shimmy around your car. And so the joy and the potential health benefits of the country of you being involved in something physical.
Yeah.
That's what we should all be doing. We should all be facilitating people being physical because then they cost less later in life because they're more healthy. Yeah. And just let them fucking park on the pavement. Who gives a shit?
Who gives a shit?
Yeah, no more rules. If today you're thinking about making a rule, don't. No rules. No more rules.
This is our new rule.
New rule, no more rules. More rules.
No more rules. Super Rugby this season has done this thing where they announcing team lists on like a Wednesday. I quite like it.
Yeah, I like it as well.
Gives us something to talk about.
Yeah, no, it's good.
And the big story out of last night's team list for the Super Rugby Grand Final is that Patrick Tuipolotu, Evans Charlton One News, has made a miraculous recovery. It has been 2 weeks since an MCL injury ruled him out of Super Rugby, and all of a sudden he's back.
It's incredible.
It is incredible.
And fantastic for the Blues.
And suspicious.
You reckon rested?
Did he? No, I don't think rested. I think he's still fucked. I think his knee's still buggered. But he smells a chance here and he wants to be. And he should be allowed to. And this is, again, my head knock issue. If this was a head knock, he wouldn't have been allowed to come back.
Oh, yeah.
But because it's a knee injury, he is allowed to come back.
Yeah, that's interesting. Boy, oh boy, this is an exciting final to it. Sold out in hours, and that's because a lot of people are fanging up the motorway from down there in the Waikato. So I'd be interested to see the percentage of crowd. Yes. I think it could be 50-50.
I think it will be.
Yeah, and a Waikato fan will bring a cowbell. And so 50-50 is noise-wise, 70-30, 80-20.
Yeah, it is.
And the passion, if you see the passion that you get from the likes of G Lane and McConey, if you get 25,000, imagine getting 5,000 G Lanes and McConeys in a stadium supporting the Chiefs mana.
One is enough.
Yeah,
one G Lane is enough.
Do we know? Is he booked in? Is G-Lane booked in to commentate, or is he going onto the ground?
He is booked in to commentate.
Okay, that'll be a huge boon for the Chiefs.
Yeah,
because the Grim Reaper of sport being along would be a disaster.
Well, this was an interesting thing that I tried to bring up with G-Lane, but it's a bit too sensitive a topic for him. If he attended the game, would the G-Lane curse be in effect? Because he is supporting his team who are on the road, but they are in his current hometown.
Yeah, because the tenets of the curse are that he has to travel away to watch his team play.
Yes.
So his team travelling to where he is, I think it would be fine.
I think it's fine too.
I think that's okay.
I think it's kosher.
So he could actually probably go. But now it doesn't matter. When you get accused of a curse, people just break the rues. They make up the rules as they go along just to blame you. They'll turn on you. I think it's freaking exciting final, and I think both teams. I think it's great that the Chiefs beat the Hurricanes last week.
Yes,
because it just flipped the narrative
massively,
and the fact that the Chiefs lost to the Blues 31-17 3 weeks ago. I don't think that makes any freaking difference. I think it's going to be a really freaking tough game, and I think
so do I.
I just think that the Blues forwards. It's a classic battle. You got big Blues forwards that are just going to rumble it up the guts, and you've just got all the showtime in the back for the Chiefs.
The razzle-dazzle.
You got the razzle-dazzle versus the up the guts. I mean, it's not that Mark Tillier doesn't have razzle-dazzle. There is razzle-dazzle in the Blues as well.
There's dazzle to be razzled.
But they are liking just to absolutely smash it up the guts at the moment.
Does it mean anything for Beauden Barrett's career if the Blues win this in his absence? Because Bill Simmons has got the Patrick Ewing theory, which is where a star player leaves a team and somehow the team gets better.
Yeah, well, that happens all the time.
It does, yeah.
I mean, it also happens in movies. You know, like when the werewolf can't play for whatever reason, and then you realise that the basketball team has got better in their own right, and they actually need to learn to win without depending on the werewolf.
Their superpower was friendship.
Yeah, their superpower was that's right. And each one of them's got a specialty that you've seen once during the movie.
Yeah. It could be interesting to see how that plays out. We've got
it's going to be interesting at pubs because the Warriors, right? The Warriors kick off at 5.
Yeah.
And there could be, depending on how long the Warriors game goes, because there's 2 hours to get that done.
Yeah.
Because imagine you're at a pub and you're trying to turn the wires off to turn the Blues Chiefs on.
Yeah. Well, the good thing about league is it never takes longer than 2 hours.
Yeah.
They don't stop the clock for fucking anything.
Yeah, that's right. And you don't have zombie football at the end.
No zombie
football. When it finishes, which is one of the greatest things about league.
Yeah.
When it's over, it's fucking over.
It's basically everything they've done in the last 10 years is to be like, how do we not stop the clock?
Yeah.
Just game time the whole time.
So yeah, that's a good point. So 2 hours is enough time to get through it.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And it's a great Saturday of sport though. Like you say, from 4 o'clock, you're just rolling through until 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And if you're an Aucklander, you've got a chance for 2 wins.
Yeah.
Which is powerful stuff. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back and talk a little bit of boxing because yesterday G-Lane and I went along to a press conference. I saw him in your office yesterday, but David Nyika had a press conference yesterday. Did he come in on your show?
He came on our show today, actually.
Oh, today.
So he was in yesterday and then he came back today. He's actually a friend of the show. We've had him on for years and years since he was an amateur, and I think Jeremy's got a bit of a boner for him. Because he's just he is a ridiculously good-looking man, ridiculously talented, fucking lovely, and super smart. I mean, he is the best of us. In fact, when he came in for the photo today, because the last photo I was in with him, I looked like a little troll. I looked like a subspecies. You know, it's like there was a time when there was full humans, and then there was these kind of little... I think they were called the Floras, which were kind of hobbit-type, disgusting, trolly hobbit-type people. And I looked like a disgusting, trolly hobbit-type person, so I stood on some books beside him. Just to not look so shit beside him, you know what I mean?
So you look like the evolution of man, and you were like the third of the way through.
I looked like the one that needed to just go extinct really quickly to allow the proper species to come through. Because he's just too, it's too good. And the fact that he's fucking lovely and lives rurally and tends to chickens, like as well, is that part of it. He likes to have the quiet life as well.
There's a few people I know that would love to see him and watch him feed those chickens, I think.
Oh, absolutely. It was Rocky 2, where Rocky decided to train with chickens. Did you see that?
No, I don't think so.
And like, there's always, in every Rocky movie, there's a stupid thing where he has to do some training thing.
Oh, well, one of them boxing the meat.
Yeah, and the second one he had to try and catch chickens because that showed how fast you were on the feet.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So I don't know if Nika's doing that or not.
But anyway, he has launched his road to the title. He wants to be the cruiserweight champion of the world. I looked up who the current cruiserweight champion of the world is. No idea. Never heard of him. There's also 4 of them. There's 4 different belts.
It's fucking confusing, isn't it?
It is so confusing. Usyk in the heavyweight, when he beat Tyson Fury recently, he unified all the belts. So he's now got all of them.
Yeah.
And we launched a campaign on this podcast to melt the belt. Just melt it down. We just want
belt.
one.
Just one frickin' belt.
Make it more easy for everyone
I
to...
mean, if anyone's saying how much it works, I mean, not for the actual athletes, but the UFC just works where you just got one thing, you know.
And you go and watch the UFC.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell, it's like not who's on or whatever. It's just, I'm just watching the UFC. So boxing needs a little bit of that. But he's announced a fight for the 14th of September. No opponent's set yet. I think they know who it is. They just haven't announced it.
I asked him today, do you know who it is? He swore he didn't know.
Yeah.
He said, I think they'll be in negotiations. It'll be one of a couple. Yeah.
I reckon. But also, we wouldn't have heard of him, whoever it is.
Yeah. It doesn't really matter.
The 15th ranked cruiserweight in the world. But excitingly to me, there are going to be charity/celebrity fights on the undercard.
Yeah.
Which I like the way the boxing's going in this. I was just sort of thinking, who would you like to see on the undercard?
Well, I reckon the first one that springs to mind is Luxon Hart.
I thought you were going to say Hipkins.
I reckon Luxon v Hart.
Yeah. Settle it once and for all.
Settle it once, who is who, and have them in one place together at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, because has anyone ever seen those two together?
I haven't.
No.
I have seen Lee Hart.
And Lee Hart is such a brilliant businessman, and he's got so many, pots on the fire, so many fingers in pie. It wouldn't surprise me if he was just running a sneaky prime ministership on the side as just one of his many ventures.
He's got the chips, he's got the beers, he's got sausages. He's going to run a political party
as well. He's got the TV show, he's running the country, I can imagine that.
So does that mean at one point while Lee Hart was doing the radio show, he was also in charge of Air New Zealand?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And it was going really well when he was in charge.
Snackachangi chips are on Air New Zealand flights. Oh, shit.
I mean, I don't want to be one of those fucking conspiracy theorists.
No, but do your own research.
I see you've written down Hoyt Hosking. I think that would be a good one.
I've wanted this for the longest time. I think Hoyt Hosking would be equal parts a very sad spectacle to watch.
Yeah.
But also very funny. And I really couldn't tell you who's going to win.
Such skinny legs.
I
mean, Lee Hart would insist on playing to boxing in pants, wouldn't he?
No, Jace, yeah.
Oh, Jace, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, Jace, they would both box in jeans.
They're boxing jeans. Jace has got a big, rotund upper body. He's got quite a lot of upper body strength.
He's bigger than Hosking.
He is bigger than Hosking. I mean, I'd be barring some kind of humiliation that normally Jason Hoyt experiences, some humiliation you couldn't expect when it comes to a sporting event, like his, pads slipping around the back and him not being able to run through for quite a simple single.
Running out.
I would say that Hoyt would hand Hosking his ass.
I like to think so too.
Yeah.
Now, the lung capacity is going to be an issue for Jace.
Oh, of course, yeah.
A lifetime on the darts.
Yeah, I mean, so many darts.
So many darts.
And I don't think... Well, I was at the Radio Awards the other day, and Reggie, who was the person that hired me for Hodaki all those years ago, he was talking about when he used to pest around with Hosking back in Dunedin back in the day when Hosking was first coming up in radio, and he said that Hosking drove a really old school Jaguar. He dressed like Paddington Bear. This is Hosking when he was 19. Dressed like Paddington Bear with a vest and like double-breasted jacket with multicolours, and sometimes he'd wear like a crocheted vest with a jacket.
Yeah.
But as a 19-year-old, he was smoking a pipe.
Yeah.
So he has done some damage to his lungs.
But also very pretentious.
I mean, what kind of man is driving a Jaguar and smoking a pipe and wearing a crocheted vest with a jacket
at 19? A virgin. That's it.
That's a virgin.
But I think that you're right. I actually do think that Jace would win this. But you're so right. There's so much footage of Jace in athletic events. The bull riding footage that just resurfaced the other week, where he was on the mechanical bull and just slid off. The pads falling off, running people out, all these kinds of things. I think that if Hosking had been filmed doing as many athletic endeavours, there'd be that much footage of him too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So
at least Jason Hoyt has been involved in athletic activities that he's humiliated himself in, which is one step ahead of just not being involved in the athletic activities at all.
That's a good point.
I know some intel on one of the fights that was brought together, but it has failed to go ahead.
Yes.
The great pairing between Jeremy Wells and Dom Harvey.
Oh.
I was put in the middle of the negotiations of that briefly.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was for this, but it was a charity fight, and Jeremy said his response, "Why the fuck would I bother doing that when I could just be going doing something else?"
Yeah.
For Jeremy, there was no. He doesn't need to increase his profile. He's on 7 Sharp, pesting around Hilary Barry every night.
There's no win there.
Yeah, and
There is a loss.
Yeah, there's a potential loss, and Dom Harvey's just gonna be so freaking fit, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, Jerry in his own right fit, but very, very dangerously stiff.
Actually, that's true. No, Jerry is constantly running every day. He's pretty fit. He pumps a lot of tin. I can imagine Jerry, if he actually agreed to do it, you wouldn't want to fight him because if he gets focused in on something, you know, he can become very, very good at it. If he generally doesn't give a fuck about anything, and as a result, sort of just tiptoes through life in a sort of laissez-faire fashion.
Yeah.
But imagine if he was going to fight Dom Harvey, then he would
He'd take it pretty seriously.
He would take it pretty seriously.
And get quite good at it quite quickly.
But not going to happen because he can't be fucked and he doesn't need it.
Yeah.
And I think he just said, I'll just give the money to charity, shall I? Sort of under, you know, when you got as much money as Wells, you can just sort of write a check and go and get rid of them. You know, they can't even run the charity vibe on him. He goes, yeah, I'll write a check. How much?
Yeah.
You know.
I won't lower myself to...
Yeah, how much do I give to the chief executive?
To pugilism. Yeah, yeah, exactly. But give us a message on the old voicemail. Let us know who you'd like to see on the celebrity undercard. Raphael Fontemer. Have you heard of this guy?
I have not.
He is an 18-year-old French swimmer. He just qualified for the Paris Olympics in 6 weeks' time in the 100 metres freestyle. And I thought you'd appreciate this story because he immediately turned a victory into a loss. And that is one of the tenets of the ACC.
Oh, we love doing it.
We're probably the best, certainly the best commentary team.
When we won Best Podcast for this very podcast, exactly where you're sitting was where G Lane's turning that victory into loss ended up in a sort of pathetic heap of just right there on that couch.
Yeah, and that was the latest in a long string of any time we win an award, any time we lose an award.
Yeah.
Massively turning a victory into a loss. This 18-year-old French swimmer, Raphael, he immediately celebrated by slapping the water and dislocated his shoulder.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He popped his left shoulder out. He now has 6 weeks to recover before he swims in the 100 metres at the Paris Olympics.
Wow.
So, is that a bigger victory into a loss than G-Lane?
Yeah, I think Ballinger, the Bally for the Dodgers, who celebrated a home run by jumping up and banging his shoulder into another player, put his shoulder out, and it's taken 3 years to get his career back.
Was he a pitcher, batter?
He was a batter, yeah. He's now fantastic again, but he ended up losing his position at the Dodgers. He just couldn't hit anything, and it was like, you just over-celebrated that home run, mate. Yeah,
So'afa'alonga for the Melbourne Storm did it on the weekend as well. He did a big swan dive and landed on the ball and was like,
oh, yeah, I saw that.
It was a coach killer.
I enjoyed that.
Absolute coach killer. All right, let's get into a segment.
Okay, just before we move on from that, have you seen the movie Under Paris?
No.
So it's this fantastic movie that it postulates that sharks get up the Seine.
Oh.
And so this, in a preparation for the Olympics that we're talking about, they're putting on a triathlon in the Seine.
Yeah.
And the mayor really wants to make it go ahead, but like shark experts are saying, there's a shitload of sharks in this river. Yeah.
Is this in the movie or in real life?
This is in the movie.
Yeah, all right.
And then there's a scene that you just don't expect at the end because they do go ahead with the triathlon. And let's just say triathlons, sharks, not a great mix for the triathletes. And it's so fucking good. It's a movie all in French. Make sure if you watch it, it's on Netflix right now. It's been a huge hit. And because it's so silly.
Yeah.
It's like, where can we put sharks? Great, put them in Paris.
Yeah.
You know, sharks in Paris. It's a great mix.
Yeah.
But if you watch it, make sure you watch it in French with the English subtitles rather than the dubbed into English, because the English dubbers are terrible actors. But I thoroughly recommend it.
What's it called again?
Under Paris.
Under Paris. All right. I'll have to look into it. Here's a segment that we started doing last week, and I want to keep doing throughout the Super Rugby, obviously, but then throughout the All Blacks as well. Throwback Thursday. This is where we go back and we have a look at the last time these two teams came up against each other. Now, the Blues and the Chiefs in Super Rugby actually haven't played each other in Super Rugby playoffs at all. They've never faced each other. But the last time the Chiefs won Super Rugby was in 2013. They beat the Brumbies 27-22. On the back page there is the team list that they have. And I just love I think this is such a classic dude sitting around at the pub going through old team lists. So I've got the team list from that Super Rugby final. This was when they won back-to-back titles, the Chiefs. Their team list reads thusly: Gareth Anscombe, Lilia Masanga, who was powerful back in the day, Charlie Ngatai, Andrew Horrell, Tikoroi Tuma was in that team. Aaron Cruden was at the helm. This was a few years after Beaver had left. Tawera Kerr-Barlow, Matt Vint Levin, I don't know who that is, Tanado Latimer, Liam Messam, who was on the last Fight for Life card. He fought Justin Hodges. Brody Retallick, Craig Clark, Big Ben Tamiafuna, Hika Elliott, and Toby Smith. On the bench, they had Reece Marshall, Ben Afiaki, who, remember when they used to make the PlayStation rugby games? Sometimes they wouldn't have the rights to some of the players' names. Ben Afiaki was one of them, and so they changed his name to Ben Afriki. And so on the games, I would always pick Ben Afriki just so he's in my team. Michael Fitzgerald, a young Sam Cane back in 2013 was coming off the bench. Augustine Pulu, Bundy Arki, the Irishman.
Yeah. Jesus, we let him go, unfortunately.
And one of the names that I refuse to believe is on his birth certificate, Robbie Robinson.
Yeah, great name.
There's no way Robbie Robinson's name's actually Robbie Robinson.
Do you know, yesterday I watched 2013 All Blacks versus South Africa at Ellis Park, which is one of the greatest games of rugby of all time. It just popped up. It was fantastic. And I reckon 2013 was a great era for rugby.
Yes.
Holy moly, the names back then.
Yeah.
Brody Retallick, of course, I think it was only Brody Retallick and Aaron Cruden probably in the team from the Chiefs at that point. But my God, if you get a chance to watch 2013, my God, eye sockets Reed, an absolute fucking blinder, offloading everywhere, scored a fantastic try. I texted him, I said, I've just watched you in fantastic game. He goes, that was my favourite game of all time.
Really?
And he said, although his try celebration before he scored, the South Africans then picked on him with it for forever.
Oh, he celebrated before he scored?
Yeah. He put his finger in the air, and he goes, but they said they kept coming in and putting this finger in the ear at him, and he's like, I'm not feeling really insulted by this because I scored the try, you know.
Yeah, you're reminding me of a time where I scored a try.
But that, man, Ben Smith, there's Aaron Smith, such a great team, of course, you know, all the classics, you know.
Well, this was
Richie McCaw. This was the same team that won the 2015. Yeah, pretty much the same team that won the 2015 Rugby World Cup.
Yeah, there was a powerful time in New Zealand.
A powerful time, wasn't it?
2013 is the last time they won. 2003 is the last time the Blues won.
I mean, that is freaking insane that it was 2003 the last time the Blues won. Apart from that asterisk.
Apart from the asterisks, but then there was also. Well, because we were saying in Super Rugby, when there was the Super 12, only 3 different teams won that trophy.
It was the Blues just had their foot on it for years.
Yeah, for years and years and years. Blues, Crusaders, and the Brumbies. They were a powerhouse for the longest time, so much so that they had to get divvied up. And now they've actually been good for the last probably 4 years now.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we said before, this is going to be a real.
I mean, what is your feeling on that? Because I mean, I was there like 3 weeks ago when the Blues smashed the Chiefs like 13-17, and the Chiefs came in there and they got that try right at the end that took the bonus point away from the Blues. It looked like the Blues weren't going to get a home final, but then the Chiefs did the service of smashing the Hurricanes last week. Yeah. Man, the Chiefs were good last week. Yeah. And it's an interesting thing who's coming on, who's peaking at exactly the right time.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure. I mean, the Blues just running it up the guts. And then you've got it's gonna be an interesting one.
It's gonna be a humdinger. I feel like I was saying before last week, I didn't know who was going to win Super Rugby, but I knew it was going to come out of that Chiefs Hurricanes game.
Yeah.
And so it is the Chiefs. So I'm going to stick with my take. I still think it's the Chiefs. They feel like their graph is pointing up. Their pendulum's swinging up, if you will.
Yeah.
And I also just feel like the Blues have a good bed shit in them.
Yeah, they do. They love to just shit the bed at a key moment.
Yeah.
Just against the odds. I mean, when they went down against the Crusaders and they had an opportunity to make a statement against the Crusaders, and they shat the bed down there unnecessarily. Yeah, and I mean, when you look at it, I mean, I want the Blues to win, but when you just look at Damien McKenzie, he's just such a freaking excitement machine.
Yeah, they're outside backs. They're Wallace Side Titty, they're number 8. Look electric. I mean, Hoskins Tatutu in his own right has got a case for the black jersey too. So I just think it's going to come down to, can the Blues avoid a bed shit?
Yeah.
Because the Hurricanes shit the bed.
Yeah, the Hurricanes totally shit the bed.
Yeah. What happens if the Blues concede 15, 14 points in the first 8 minutes?
Which they love to do.
Yeah.
They love on a big occasion just to have a lapse in defence.
Yeah. So what happens?
But I mean, their thing is just to like. But also the Blues could just keep pushing it over, meat and veg. 5 meat and veg tries.
And
suck the life out of the tournament.
Yeah.
But it's freaking exciting. Sold out Eden Park. As we said, shitloads of dudes coming up with a cowbell from the Waikato.
Yeah.
It's gonna be freaking exciting.
It is going to be good. All right, we're going to take one more break, and when we come back, we're going to get to yours, please.
Yours, please. Brought to you by Leader, home of the lasagna topper.
Your chance to get involved in the show. Send through your opinions, your feedback, just like this caller here has. Yours, please.
Yeah, g'day Murray, first time caller, long time listener. How fucking insufferable are the Boston Celtics fans going to be for the next year? They've got the record wins, 18 wins, and Jason Tatum, like he's a good player, but he's doing all this corny shit, trying to replicate the Kobe photo with the trophy, trying to replicate Kevin Garnett, anything is possible, and then doing Kanye at the fucking Miami celebration, like the worst winner we've got. Ugh, Celtics.
Have you seen this?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Jason Tatum.
But you love it though. That's the whole thing. Like
I don't.
Basketball. Well, it gives it something. It's.
But he's trying to replicate. He's trying to have his own like superstar moment. And people were saying this. There was all these memes before he won. Like he's going to do this corny shit. He's going to do this corny shit. And he has done every single one of them. The one that killed me the most was when he was yelling, "What are they going to say now?" Which is what Steph Curry said after he won his finals MVP. Because before he won that, he'd won all these titles, but everyone said, yeah, but he's never been a finals MVP. Then he won it, and he said, what are they going to say now? So that's what Jason Tatum's yelling. Yeah. And everyone's posting that picture and being like, what are they going to say now? You didn't win the finals MVP. That's what that's like literally the whole point of that.
Yeah. No, but I'm not saying that I support what he's doing. I'm just supporting that basketball produces characters that give you something to freaking talk about.
Definitely, yeah.
Like no other sport.
It's the best in the world at that.
I mean, and, like NFL would be up there, but, because everyone's wearing a helmet, it's a little bit different on the field. So they're a bit more anonymous. I mean, they've got just as many penises in the NFL, but they're just a little bit more.
Yeah.
But and during a game, they're under a helmet, it's a bit different. They're not on the field as much, they're not on the park as much as basketball. But it's just getting to this end of the season is just so freaking great.
It is. But this has been a historical run in the last 48 hours of Jason Tatum just doing the corniest shit. Anytime you put a microphone in front of him, he can't say it. He's obviously not a very articulate dude, and he just goes, no, I can't describe it, and then yells out the last quote that he can remember from someone else that won it. And it's the sad thing is he desperately wants to be loved. That's actually what he's trying to do there.
Yeah.
He went and posed in the changing rooms with the thing, like with the trophy leaning up against the wall, one leg up. So just relax, man.
Yeah.
It can't be like last year when Denver won. One of the guys, Aaron Gordon, he was shirtless but still had his shorts and his boots and the whole get up on. 2 days later, he's still partying in the streets of Colorado.
I love that.
Yeah. Just go and do that. Just go and have fun.
Yeah.
You don't have to try and... That is an iconic moment. He wasn't trying to recreate anything.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you can. It's very easy to find your own one once you won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Jason Tatum's turning a victory into a loss here. It was a tour of cringe. Another caller here, yours, please.
Sup, Bullbags? Hey, just my 4 cents on the prees before the All Blacks in Dunedin. I reckon you just fuck Dunedin off, go to the fine establishment that is the Sail and Anchor in Timaru, DIC all the way down to the Sistema, and go from there. Fuck G McDonald, up South Canterbury.
Yeah, well, it's good to hear some positive South Canterbury chat in here. I haven't had that. Every time I've been here recently, there's been there's been some anti-South Canterbury rhetoric directed at you. I mean, DIC all the way down. It's a long way to be repeatedly pulled over for drunk driving.
Yeah, it's about 3 hours.
Yeah, so I know see what's saying drunken charge, not actually be pulled on, not actually get charged with it. I see. Yeah, I've misunderstood that. So,
but make it safely.
Yeah, I mean.
The Sail and Anchor has the stickiest dance floor on God's green earth. I think we did the first 15 of sticky dance floors at one point on a commentary. I think once you walk into that place, you're never getting out again. It is a powerful establishment down there in Timaru. But I don't know, 3 hours in the car. It's a lot of piss stops.
Yeah.
Depends how many dudes are coming with you.
Yeah.
Also, it's quite difficult to fly into Timaru. So at that point, you're either flying to Christchurch and driving all the way through, or you're flying to Dunedin, then driving to Timaru, then back to Dunedin.
Yeah, I think, just for simplicity, flying straight into Dunedin, the place where the game is. I mean, there's plenty of bars in Dunedin. I mean, what's this bar again called?
Well, I don't know if we've decided yet. But,
No, the bar in Timaru.
Sorry, the Sail and Anchor.
The Sail and Anchor. I mean, like, great bar, sticky dance floor, as you say, but is it that great that we go that far out of our way to go there? I mean, is it top 10 in the world? Ooh. Because to overcome the convenience of just flying straight to Dunedin and going to a Dunedin bar.
It's number one in South Canterbury. I'll say that.
It is number one in South Canterbury. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's without a shadow of a doubt. Ever since they shut down the Waimate Hotel.
It's freaking exciting going down to Dunedin, like the build up for an All Blacks, going along to Forsyth Bar.
The town gets fizzed up.
It's a freaking great time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. All right, let's knock this thing on the head. Thank you very much for coming in of a Thursday, Maddie. Enjoy your weekend of sport.
Yep.
Enjoy your Friday, and we'll see you tomorrow for another episode of the Agenda Podcast.
You've been listening to the ACC's Agenda Podcast, brought to you by Export Ultra. For more episodes, like and follow on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.